Growing up, Ava had always believed her family was different, in a good way. From the outside, the Thompsons looked like the kind of people you'd see on Christmas cards, or in those cheesy family commercials. Her mom, Catherine, had a warm smile and an endless supply of casseroles and moral advice. Her dad, Richard, was a hard-working man with calloused hands, a booming laugh, and an obsession with classic cars. And then there was Emily, Ava's little sister by 4 years, blonde, bubbly, and everyone's darling. Ava used to think they were lucky. As the eldest daughter, Ava had played every role imaginable: caretaker, tutor, emotional support sponge, second parent, problem solver. Her parents used to say, "You're so mature for your age, and we don't worry about you. You always figure it out." And so, Ava figured it out. Again and again and again. She skipped school dances to babysit Emily, got her first job at 15, and handed over half her paycheck without being asked. In college, she juggled 2 part-time jobs and graduated with honors, all while sending money home so her parents wouldn't have to say no when Emily needed a new laptop or extra tuition for summer classes. At the time, it didn't feel like a sacrifice. It felt like love. So when Emily got engaged to her longtime boyfriend Nathan, Ava was genuinely happy for her. No resentment, no envy, just pure sisterly joy. She helped plan the bridal shower, hosted one of the bachelorette weekends at her apartment, and even paid for the invitations after her mom casually mentioned they were more expensive than expected. She didn't think much of it. After all, it was family. The day before the wedding, Ava arrived early to help with last-minute details at the venue. A rustic vineyard on the edge of town, dripping with fairy lights and delicate floral arches. The bride's side was buzzing with excitement. Her mom was beaming, barking out orders to caterers and florists like a general in a pretty pastel dress. Ava stepped outside for a moment to breathe. Her phone was buzzing non-stop, and the air inside felt stifling. She walked along the gravel path toward the small garden behind the reception hall, thinking she'd get 5 minutes of quiet. That's when she heard it. Her Aunt Louise's voice floated through the garden, mid-conversation with her mother. "Honestly, Catherine, I was shocked when I heard Ava gave $15,000. That's such a generous gift. I mean, wow, you must be so proud." Ava stopped. Her mother's reply came with a soft chuckle. "Well, Ava's always been the responsible one. No kids, no mortgage, what else is she going to spend it on? Emily deserved a special day, of course." Louise said, "She deserves everything. Still $15,000. That's no small gift." Ava stepped back, heart pounding. She replayed the words in her mind. A gift, $15,000. She hadn't given that kind of money. She couldn't have if she tried. Her savings account barely had 4 figures, and she was still chipping away at her student loans. She'd helped, yes, but a few $100s here and there. Maybe 1,000 total if you counted the printing, the decor, and the gifts, but 15,000. It wasn't just a lie. It was a performance, a carefully constructed illusion of her as the wealthy, selfless older sister making grand sacrifices, so Emily could be Cinderella. Ava stood frozen in the garden until the voices faded. Then she walked back inside, smile glued in place like a mask. That night, in the guest room of her parents' house, Ava finally confronted them. She waited until Emily and Nathan had gone out for a last-minute dinner and found her mom folding napkins in the kitchen. "Mom," Ava started, voice calm but firm, "why did you tell Aunt Louise I gave $15,000 for the wedding?" Catherine didn't even flinch. "Oh, that," she waved a hand as if brushing off a fly. "It just came up. It made things easier." "Easier," Ava repeated. "Easier for who?" "For everyone." Her father's voice boomed from the hallway. He walked in, arms crossed. "Your sister's wedding is a big deal. People talk. We wanted them to know you were involved. We thought you'd be flattered." Ava's throat tightened. "But it's not true." Her mother shrugged. "It's a white lie. You helped in so many ways. We just rounded it up. What's the harm?" She felt like the air had been knocked from her lungs. "It's not rounding up," Ava snapped. "It's inventing a donation I didn't make. Now the whole family thinks I'm some kind of patron saint. And what's wrong with that?" Her father asked, tone hardening. "You always wanted recognition." "No, I wanted honesty." There was a long silence. Then her mother's voice softened. that familiar condescension creeping in. Ava, sweetie, Emily needed this. You know how much pressure she's under. She's the bride. Can't you just let her have her moment? Ava stared at them, two people she'd broken herself to please for years, and realized something chilling. They didn't feel guilty. They didn't feel anything at all. The next morning, Ava tried to speak to Emily. She found her in the bridal suite, laughing with her bridesmaids while sipping mimosas. When they were alone, Ava approached her gently. Did you know Mom and Dad told people I gave $15K for the wedding? Emily smiled coyly, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. They wanted people to know you helped. It's not a big deal. It is a big deal, Ava said, voice cracking slightly. It's a lie. Emily's eyes sharpened. So what, you helped, right? It's not like you're broke. Everyone's just proud of you. Can't you let that be enough? For once. And just like that, the conversation was over. That night, Ava lay awake in her hotel room, heart pounding, hands shaking. The lie wasn't just a single offense. It was everything. All the times she had come second. All the quiet betrayals buried under the surface. All the years of being fine, so that Emily could shine. She had become a prop in her family's play, and she was done acting. She was still going to the wedding. But her speech. That would be a different kind of gift. The wedding day arrived with golden sunlight spilling over the vineyard, a picture, perfect morning designed to be remembered. Guests began trickling into the ceremony area, dressed in flowing dresses and sharp suits, laughter mingling with the sound of string instruments playing in the background. To everyone else, it was the happiest day in the Thompson family's history, but to Ava, it was the day she realized she had been an outsider in her own family all along. She moved through the day like a ghost, smiling, posing for pictures, accepting compliments she didn't deserve. Every time someone thanked her for her unbelievable generosity, it felt like someone had poured acid into her chest. It was so thoughtful of you, Ava. Not many sisters would give $15,000. You must love Emily so much. Your parents are so proud. Your mom was in tears just talking about it. Ava, you're a saint. When I get married, I want my sister to be just like you. She didn't know what hurt more, the lie itself, or how easily it was accepted as truth. That night at the reception, while the newlyweds danced under chandeliers and fairy lights, Ava sat at the edge of the celebration, swirling a glass of red wine in her hand. She'd smiled so much her face hurt. Her soul, meanwhile, felt like it had been carved hollow. A little girl at a nearby table waved to her. Auntie Ava, she chirped, are you the rich one? Ava blinked, excuse me. My mommy said you're rich because you gave Emily all the wedding money. Can I come live with you when I grow up? The room spun. She excused herself to the bathroom and locked the stall door, finally letting herself breathe. Her reflection in the mirror looked like a stranger, red eyes, trembling lips, a woman dressed in borrowed grace and forced smiles. She pulled out her phone and opened her banking app. $1 $206 $14 in checking, $382 $27 in savings, 3 outstanding student loans still accruing interest. Rent due next week, health insurance deductible unpaid. The numbers didn't lie, but her family had. The weeks after the wedding were even worse. Photos flooded social media, pictures of Emily and Nathan laughing, twirling, kissing, surrounded by friends and family. And in almost every comment section, Ava was tagged, praised, celebrated. Shout out to Ava for making it all happen. The real MVP, Emily's amazing big sis, $15K. That's true sister love. It was suffocating. Her phone buzzed constantly with messages from distant relatives and even strangers. I heard about what you did for your sister. You're incredible. If you're ever in LA, I'd love to meet up. We need more women like you in the nonprofit world. Ava, your act of kindness restored my faith in family. Thank you for being a role model. Ava stopped replying. Then one afternoon, she received an email from a potential employer she'd interviewed with before the wedding. It was a non-profit she had long admired, working with underserved girls and young women. The director wrote, after learning more about your background, especially your selfless contributions to your sister's wedding, we're even more impressed by your character. We'd love to discuss a leadership role with you. The irony nearly made her laugh out loud. She wanted to scream. You're admiring someone who doesn't exist. But she didn't correct them. Not yet. The lie had grown legs, a heart, and now it was dancing in circles around her. If she tore it down now, she'd be the villain. The jealous sister, the bitter spinster who ruined a perfect wedding memory, because that's how it always was. When Emily lied or cried, she was fragile, emotional, misunderstood. When Ava spoke up, she was dramatic, angry, difficult. One Sunday, 2 weeks after the wedding, Ava visited her parents. She didn't want to, but guilt still had a grip on her, familiar, cruel, and deep. Her mother welcomed her with a bright smile and handed her a slice of pie. "We've been getting so many compliments," she said. "People just can't stop talking about how generous you are." Ava stared at the plate. "I didn't give $15,000, she said again, flatly. Her father looked up from his newspaper, annoyed. "Are we really still talking about this?" "Yes," Ava said. "Because you're still letting the lie spread." Richard folded the paper with a sigh. "You helped more than you realize. It was symbolic." "Symbolic," Ava repeated, nearly choking on the word. "I didn't realize you could lie with that much precision. 15,000 is very specific symbolism." Her mother frowned. "Why are you so upset about something that makes you look good?" "Because it's not about looking good," Ava snapped. "It's about the fact that you used me again. You made me a part of something I never agreed to. You gave my name and my money away like I was an accessory." Catherine's smile finally dropped. "Do you know how hard it is to keep this family together?" she hissed, suddenly angry. "Do you have any idea what we sacrificed to raise you girls?" Ava stood. "You sacrificed. I've been sacrificing since I was 12, and the one time I say no, the one time I didn't give what I didn't have, you just invented it for me. You handed my reputation out like a wedding favor." Her father stood too. "You've always been so dramatic." Ava walked out without another word. Later that night, Emily called. "I heard you upset Mom and Dad," she said, voice icy. "I told the truth," Ava said. Emily scoffed. "You really can't stand it, can you, that people admire me? That I had a beautiful wedding and people saw you as something other than the martyr for once?" Ava felt something twist in her chest. "I don't care about admiration, Emily," she said quietly. "I care about truth and family, but clearly, those are only important when they serve you." There was a pause. Then Emily said in the cruelest tone Ava had ever heard from her, "Maybe if you had your own life, your own marriage, your own accomplishments, you wouldn't be so obsessed with mine." Click, the call ended. Ava sat there in silence. That was the moment something inside her broke, not out of sadness, but out of clarity. It wasn't just the money. It wasn't even just the lie. It was decades of being the support beam for a house she didn't even live in. The dependable daughter, the invisible backbone, the one who always held everyone else's mess while being told to be strong and not make a scene. She had always been the good daughter. But maybe it was time to be something else. In the weeks that followed, Ava stopped answering family group texts. She turned down dinner invites. When her mom asked if she would help plan a cousin's baby shower, she replied, "No, I won't." She wasn't angry anymore. She was awake, and in that clarity, a new idea began to form. One final gift, one final act, not of revenge, not exactly. Of revelation, because they had given her the microphone. They had asked her, publicly, to give a speech at the wedding reception recorded by dozens of phones, live-streamed to family across the country. The perfect stage, the perfect spotlight. For her truth, the reception hall glowed like a dream, white roses climbing the walls, candles flickering on every table, and chandeliers casting soft light onto the polished wood floor. Emily and Nathan danced their first dance under a canopy of twinkling lights as the guests clapped, cheered, and toasted. Ava stood at the side of the room, watching it all unfold. She was a vision in midnight blue. Her hair pinned back in soft waves, makeup flawless. On the outside, she looked exactly like the role everyone had given her, the elegant, composed, generous sister. But under the surface, a storm had settled into something colder, clearer. There were no more nerves, no more hesitation. She knew exactly what she was about to do. Earlier that week, when the wedding planner had asked if she'd give the final toast, as the sister and the one who gave so much to make today possible, Ava had smiled and said, "Of course." That night, she wrote her speech, not out of bitterness, not out of rage, but out of necessity. They had told a story about her. A fake one. They handed it to the world and expected her to perform it. And now she would, but on her terms. The music died down, dessert plates were cleared. Guests were starting to settle back into their seats with glasses of champagne, some swaying lightly with drink and joy. The DJ tapped the microphone. Before we send off our beautiful couple, we have one final toast from the maid of honor and sister of the bride, Ava Thompson. Polite applause. Ava stepped forward, heels clicking on the wooden floor, and took the mic. The room hushed. She smiled. A real calm, dangerous smile. Hi everyone. I'll keep this brief because I know you're all thinking about cake. Laughter rippled across the room. People leaned in, relaxed. Phones were lifted to record. She continued, voice clear and warm. I've been asked many times over the last few weeks what it's like to watch your younger sister get married, and to be honest, it's beautiful. Emily, you look stunning tonight. Nathan, you're lucky, but I know you know that. Nathan grinned, raising his glass. Emily beamed. Ava took a slow breath. But before I raise my glass with everyone else, I wanted to offer a small clarification. The room shifted slightly. Smiles held, but curiosity replaced certainty. You see, there's been a story passed around at this wedding about a gift, a rather large gift. Supposedly, I gave $15,000 to help pay for this wedding. Nods from around the room. The audience smiled, clearly impressed, waiting for the humble brag or modest denial. Ava's smile widened, just enough. I didn't. A pause, a ripple. Eyebrows raised. Quiet whispers began. I didn't give $15,000. I didn't give $5,000. The truth is, I gave what I could, small things, decorations, invitations, a few bills here and there. I gave my time. I gave my energy. I gave pieces of myself, the way I always have. The silence was thicker now. Some guests looked to each other, confused. Others leaned forward, intrigued. I didn't make a grand gesture, she continued. I wasn't asked to, but it was important to some people that I appeared to have, that I looked like the older sister giving big gifts, so the story could be prettier, neater, more impressive. Her mother's face went pale. Her father sat rigid, lips pressed tight. Emily's smile faltered, confusion twisting into something sharper. Ava didn't stop. This isn't about money. This is about the quiet rewriting of reality. The little lies we tell to make things look better, even if it means silencing someone else's truth. A few gasps, a couple phones lowered. Her voice remained even. Emily, I hope you have a beautiful life, I really do. I hope your marriage is full of the love you believe you deserve, but I won't be carrying your weight anymore, or the weight of this family's stories. Emily stood up, her voice sharp and tight. Ava, what are you doing? Ava looked at her, still calm, speaking for once. Then she turned back to the guests. I've spent years being the helper, the background, the extra. I was always told I'd have my time later, that being responsible meant being invisible, that being the strong one meant I didn't get to need anything. She paused, letting her words hang. I'm done with that. The room was now fully still. No clinking glasses, no polite murmurs, just Ava and her truth. I'm not telling you this to ruin a wedding. I'm telling you this because I was asked to speak, and this is the only speech I have left in me. The truth, not the polished, edited, Instagram-friendly version of who I'm supposed to be. She looked at Emily one last time. I do love you, but love without boundaries isn't love, it's erasure. Then she lifted her glass. To the happy couple, may your future be honest, generous, and full of truth, the real kind. And with that, she sipped her champagne. The silence cracked into chaos. Someone dropped a glass. A few guests applauded awkwardly, unsure what to do. Catherine rushed forward, trying to whisper something sharp through clenched teeth, but Ava had already handed the microphone to the DJ and was walking away. She didn't storm out. She didn't cry. She simply walked out of the reception, out of the carefully built lie, out of the skin she had been forced to wear for decades. Outside, the air was crisp and quiet. The stars were out, unbothered by human drama. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. That was the most honest thing I've ever heard. Thank you, Cousin Lauren. I always knew something was off. You were incredible tonight. Old college friend. Speech went viral. Over 300 100K views already. Proud of you. Ava turned off her phone, slipped off her heels, and walked barefoot toward the parking lot. For the first time in her life, she felt light, not vindicated, not angry, just free. The video went viral, not instantly, but within a week, Ava's quiet, poised wedding speech had been viewed by over 1 million people. A guest had posted it on TikTok with the caption, "When the sister drops truth bombs at the wedding, and it's everything." From there, it spread like wildfire. Stitch after stitch, duets, think pieces, tweets, Reddit threads dissecting the family dynamics, praising Ava's composure, speculating on the years of suppression beneath her speech. Some people called her brave, others called her petty. She didn't care. At first, her family treated it like a scandal. Her mother texted her, furious, "How dare you humiliate us in front of everyone? After all we've done for you." Her father sent one message, "You burned bridges you can't rebuild." Emily sent a long, emotionally manipulative voice note crying, blaming, gaslighting. "You stole my moment because you couldn't stand not being the center of attention." Ava listened once, then deleted it. She didn't respond, because the speech hadn't been about revenge. It wasn't designed to hurt. It was designed to end. To end the lies, the expectations, the invisible leash of good daughter. Duty that had kept her tethered to people who didn't know her beyond what she could give. In the weeks that followed, Ava returned to her normal life, but everything felt new. She went to work, she declined small talk, she turned her phone off for long stretches, she started journaling, started walking, started sleeping without grinding her teeth. She had no need to convince anyone of her worth anymore. Her boss, after seeing the video, offered her a promotion. A publisher reached out to see if she'd consider writing an essay. A therapist she had followed online for months sent her a private message. "I hope you know how powerful that was. If you ever need a safe space, I'd be honored to hold it." She booked a session. Therapy wasn't magical. It was uncomfortable and slow, but it cracked something open in Ava. She began to unpack not just the wedding, but the entire lifetime that led to that moment. The childhood memories she dismissed as just being the oldest, the guilt, tripping disguised as parenting, the emotional neglect wrapped in praise, "We don't worry about you." It all made sense now. She wasn't ungrateful. She wasn't overreacting. She had simply been conditioned to make herself small so others could shine brighter. Now she was no longer shrinking. Months passed, she didn't block her family. She didn't cut them off. But she built a new kind of boundary, one that didn't require her permission to exist. When her mother tried to invite her to Easter brunch, Ava replied kindly, "I won't be attending." When her father sent a passive-aggressive message about keeping the family together, she replied, "That's not something I'm responsible for anymore." Emily didn't reach out again. At first, the distance felt like punishment. Then it began to feel like peace. One evening in spring, nearly a year after the wedding, Ava sat on her balcony with a cup of tea and a laptop. She opened an email from the nonprofit that had reached out after the speech. They were offering her a leadership role, with creative control to build a new initiative, mentoring girls from emotionally complex family backgrounds. She read the offer 3 times, smiled, yes. Later that week, she moved to a new city, small but warm, with bookstores on every corner and quiet cafes where no one knew her name. She made friends slowly, intentionally, people who didn't care who her family was, people who listened when she spoke and didn't expect her to bleed to be worthy. And then something unexpected happened. She fell in love, not the dizzy, blinding kind she'd grown up watching in movies, but a steady, kind love. A man named Julian, a former teacher turned counselor, who asked her real questions and waited for real answers. Their first date was awkward. Their second was easier. By the 4th, she was laughing in a way she hadn't in years. He never asked about her family. He asked about her dreams. 2 years later, Ava stood at the back of a small garden venue, sunlight filtering through the trees. Her own wedding day, there were no 200 guests, no violinists, no lies, just 30 people, the ones who mattered. No gifts announced, no money bragged about, just her truth, walking down an aisle in a soft, simple dress, towards someone who saw all of her, and never asked her to perform. She didn't give a big speech, she didn't need to. After the ceremony, her maid of honor, her friend Ray, not her sister, touched her arm and whispered, "You know what I loved most about today? Nothing was forced, it was all real." Ava nodded, smiling. "That's the only way I do things now." She still hears from her family occasionally. Christmas cards, vague updates, once an email from Emily with a link to her baby registry, and a 2-line note. "It's a girl, hope you're well." Ava didn't reply. Not out of cruelty, out of clarity, because peace isn't always about forgiveness. Sometimes, peace is knowing you told the truth and walked away. Epilogue: the video of Ava's wedding speech remains online, quietly collecting views. New comments appear every week. "This made me cry. I didn't know I needed to hear this. I was the Ava in my family. Thank you for showing me it's okay to stop pretending. Truth isn't always pretty, but it's always powerful." And sometimes, late at night, Ava reads those comments with tears in her eyes, not from pain anymore, but from recognition. She had given so much of herself away, but now, she finally knew what it meant to keep something for herself. Her voice, her story, her peace.